Good morning, I think we're live. Just wait a few seconds until I can see that people have found the video, okay? It's always this really awkward bit at the beginning, isn't it? I'm sure other agents will know what I'm talking about whilst you're waiting for people to join. I think we're here, so I think the video is live. Good morning, it is Thursday the 18th of June. Where's that month going? We are back in Sedgemoor with myself. My name is Lauren. I am the team lead for agents in the Sedgemoor area. Lovely to be back with you again this morning at our Thursday Talking Cafe. First comment from Kerry. Morning, Kerry. I'm really good, thank you. Hope you are okay too. Hope the kids are all good and things like that. It's a bit wet today, isn't it? It's a bit grey, a bit miserable. I've got some agents out picking food and books up, and they are going to be soggy. Yeah, not a nice day at all. How is everybody? Are you okay? I have had my first experience of somebody out in the public saying to me, "I've seen you on Facebook on that Talking Cafe." I was out doing some work yesterday in the community, just checking up on some of our most vulnerable clients, adults in Sedgemoor, and I knocked on a door and there was a micro provider there, and she opened the door and she said, "Oh, I've seen you on Facebook." I was like, oh dear. So that was my first experience of being recognised. Don't quite feel famous, but perhaps almost there. Morning, Simon, lovely to see you here. So if you have watched any of our other Facebook lives this week, that you will know that we've had kind of a focus on loneliness. It is Loneliness Awareness Week in the UK, and so a lot of our Talking Cafes have kind of centred around that topic and what solutions are out there to combat loneliness. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. I'm just going to wait another couple of minutes to see if anybody else joins us. Just going to read the comments. Kerry says that boys are back at school, daughter's still at home with me. So slightly back to normal, but not quite. It's funny, isn't it? It's a funny, funny time. So as I say, we're going to talk a little bit today about loneliness, and particularly with a focus on the Sedgemoor area and what solutions we have to combat loneliness. But first of all, before I get started with that, there is another awareness week this week, which I thought would be really important to just spend a couple of minutes putting some focus on this topic. It is National Cervical Screening Awareness Week. So primarily talking to us women that are watching, but men as well. You can encourage your wives, partners, friends, daughters to go and make sure that they are having their cervical screening. So it applies to all. So cervical screening, it's a free health test available on the NHS, and it's part of the National Cervical Screening Programme. It helps to prevent cervical cancer by checking for a virus called high-risk HPV and cervical cell changes. So it's not a test for cancer, it's a test for those changes. So you will be invited for a cervical screening test if you have a cervix. So women are usually born with a cervix, but trans men, non-binary and intersex people may also have one. So you will be automatically invited for cervical screening between the ages of 25 to 64, and as long as you're registered as female with a GP surgery. You may get your invite about up to 6 months before you turn 25, so it's worth keeping in mind that you may get it a little bit earlier. I know I did, I got it when I was 24. And once you get the invite, you can book in for your cervical screening test. 5 million women are invited for cervical screening every year in the UK, but obviously over the last few months, many tests have been postponed and the invitations were paused. These invitations are now coming out again. Coronavirus has changed a lot about our lives, including the way that we visit our GP surgery. If you have been invited for cervical screening and you have questions or concerns about attending your appointment or how that appointment might look, Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust has a really, really great website with lots of fantastic FAQ pages and all the frequently asked questions. So I guarantee if it's something you've thought, someone else has thought it, and they will have answered that question for you. So when you attend your appointment, things will look slightly different. Your nurse that is carrying out your screening is likely to be wearing PPE. You're likely to be asked to attend in a slightly different way, so you may use a different door, or you may have to wait outside until you're called in, all those sorts of things. If you're nervous about it, it's worth picking up the telephone to your GP practice and just asking how that appointment will work. But as I say, Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust has a really fantastic website with lots of information, and they have a national helpline as well, so if you want to talk through any of your concerns, give them a ring and I'm sure they can put your mind at rest. I have found a really fantastic resource, perhaps for the slightly younger, those 24 to 25 people who are being invited for a cervical screening, might be feeling really anxious and nervous about their first time and not sure what to expect at all. A really popular UK YouTuber called Zoe Sugg, she has done a YouTube video where she took the camera with her to one of her cervical screening appointments. So you see her go through the process, the nurse that's doing it answers lots of questions. So that might be something that's really useful to share with any younger people in your lives who may be invited to have a cervical screening test. So I don't think there's any comments. Oh, well, there is. I haven't scrolled down. Morning, Christy. Hannah has popped those information in there for us. The NHS website, and again, Joe's Cervical Cancer Trust. So I will move on from that topic, but I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes just, encouraging you all to attend your appointments, even at this funny time where we might not be going to the GP practice as much. Your cervical screening tests are still really important. If you're not sure if you've had one recently, give the doctor a ring and ask. They'll be able to tell you from your records when you are next due. So that's that one. I'm now going to move on to our kind of weekly topic, which is of course loneliness. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that are local to us in Sedgemoor that are solutions for loneliness. So loneliness. Loneliness is an internal trigger. Loneliness tells us to seek company. Loneliness is a kind of mismatch of the relationships we have and the relationships that we want. Loneliness describes a pain at being alone, whereas solitude describes joy of being alone. Some people seek solitude, they like to be alone, but few choose to be lonely. Lonely is not something that's good for us, and we don't want anybody to feel alone. Of course, isolation for the last 12 weeks has meant for many there has been no choice but to be alone, and that has left lots and lots of people feeling lonely. One of the ways that we can tackle this loneliness is to give people reasons to connect and stay connected. And so I've pulled together just a small amount of the local resources that we have that you can access if you are feeling lonely. There are so many more options available in Somerset and particularly Sedgemoor. So if I don't mention something today that interests you but you are lonely, please get in touch with one of our agents and we can talk you through some other solutions that might work better for you. Morning, Marilyn. Lovely to have you here. So I'm going to talk first of all about perhaps our younger generations and how they might be feeling lonely at the moment particularly. So we're very lucky in Somerset. We have a fantastic youth organisation called Young Somerset. It is the largest youth work charity in Somerset, and their mission is to put young people first. So their aim is to work with young people, encouraging them to take responsibility for themselves and become actively involved in shaping the communities in which they live. I happened to see on Facebook yesterday that Young Somerset have created a virtual hub, which looks really exciting. So the hub is a safe online space designed for young people and for their parents and guardians to find out about what support is available for you in your area. Young Somerset are also running informative and interactive workshops on Instagram and Facebook each week. The sessions are led by the Young Somerset team who provide professional advice and guidance on how to maintain positive well-being and look after your mental health. So that hub It is open for young people Monday and Friday at 4 o'clock, and it is open for parents Monday at 4 o'clock. So you can find out more information on their Facebook page. It is Young Somerset. They also have a really fantastic website with lots and lots of information, really great information about young people and the coronavirus, and the impact that it may have had on them. So if you are someone who has perhaps a young adult, teenager living at home, have a look at their website and see if there's anything there that might be able to support them if they are feeling lonely. It's been a huge shake-up for young people. I can't imagine, those teenage years where children, teenagers are so reliant on their peers for support. To have that taken away from them must have been really difficult. I have seen, out the kitchen window, I've seen teenagers back out playing with each other, which has been lovely. Really respectful of the 2 metres distance, I will say, in my area. They seem to be on bikes and scooters, but really keeping their distance. But they're together again, which is really, really nice. I imagine they're all looking forward to the day when they can get back to school and get back to youth groups and things like that. But until that day, please encourage them to turn to these kind of online resources if they're feeling lonely. As I say, that was Young Somerset. Is a really fantastic resource for young people. So I'm going to go to a any age solution in Sedgemoor particularly, and hopefully Simon Bale is still here watching with us. Simon Bale is sort of relaunching a project that he's been working on for some time, and that's the Hello Project. So I have, Simon has very kindly sent me through some information about the Hello Project, which I'm just going to read out to you, because it may be really beneficial to you, especially if you live, as I say, in the Sedgemoor area. So the Hello Project is here to help. Loneliness is talked about a lot, but if you are lonely, you can find it very difficult to talk about yourself. It always seems to be someone else that you are talking about. The reality is that you may well be lonely and you haven't realised it. It can be difficult to know if someone is lonely or isolated, because if we ask, "How are you?" it's rare that anyone's going to say, "Actually, I'm lonely." Often people don't realise that we are lonely until we aren't lonely anymore. There is a way that Simon's project can help. By saying hello to someone that you pass on the street, to your neighbour, to a friend. By saying hello, you can show them that you have noticed them. And whilst it might not make much of a difference in that immediate moment, over time it all adds up. So all the hellos will add up to something really meaningful. So saying hello is one thing, but longer term we all need to ensure that people are able to be less lonely through lots of different means. So Simon kind of went on to talk a little bit about what I was saying. Some people choose to be alone. They don't like to be in the middle of large gatherings. They might be someone that attends these large gatherings, but they still need their time alone. Being alone isn't always a bad thing, but being lonely is. So if you are someone who feels lonely, you are missing connections, you just want to chat with somebody, let us know and we can put you into touch with the Hello Project. The email address for Simon Bale is in the comments. Simon is in the comments himself, so if you want to reach out and send Simon a message directly, if you are someone who is looking for conversation and you would like somebody just to notice you and say hello, please do reach out and get in contact with the Hello Project. Really, really excited for that to launch more in Bridgewater. We have already had one case where we have referred one of our clients to the Hello Project because they have found that they need face-to-face interaction to be able to recover from what it is they're struggling with. So the Hello Project have very kindly said that they would go and sit in the garden with this client, keeping 2 metres apart and all that sort of stuff, and give them that face-to-face interaction. So thank you, Simon, for taking that referral from us. I know it's going to make the world of difference, and if you are someone who knows someone who is lonely, if you are lonely yourself, as I say, please do get into contact. I'm just going to read this comment from Marilyn before I move on. So there is more than one type of loneliness. One is where you live alone, don't go out or join anything, and just generally live alone. Then there is loneliness, where no matter how many people you see or how many groups you join, if you have a hole in your heart where you are missing someone you love that is no longer part of your family, whether through death or through family issues, that is so true, isn't it? You can be in a room full of people and you can have the biggest family and all the friends in the world, and you can still feel lonely if something inside of you is missing. And if that is, resonating with you, then please do let us know. It may be that we can suggest some sort of support. You're never going to heal that hole fully. It's always going to be there. But there are things that you can do to make sure that those moments where you feel suffocated by that hole less. I hope that makes sense. No problem, Simon. Thank you for working with us. It's really, as I say, an exciting project. Morning, Councillor Hilary, Bruce. Lovely to have you with us this morning. So I'm going to move on to talking about another really exciting project that is just launching in Sedgemoor that we are lucky enough as agents to be a part of. And that is a project, it's called SEED, Sedgemoor Creative Peoples and Places. It is linked to the Engine Room and Somerset Film and all those sorts of creative projects in Sedgemoor, if you have come across those. So SEED is a brand new investment in the creative arts and culture of Sedgemoor. It is the first of its kind in the southwest, and we are very lucky that it is happening here in Sedgemoor. So SEED know and recognise that within our communities there is a wealth of knowledge, skills and creativity, some of which remains hidden or undervalued. So this is a little comment that I've taken from SEED's website from the director, Scott O'Hara, who we were lucky enough to meet just before the lockdown. We were sat in a cafe with him probably a couple of days before we went into lockdown. So things have been a little bit on hold, but they are ready to kick off again. So Scott has said, the lockdown has reduced opportunities for communities to connect with each other and for local artists to make a living. We are thrilled to be able to launch our Creative Lives Under Lockdown initiative and fill some of those needs. Anyone living or working in the Sedgemoor area is invited to look at the activities on offer via our website, which is www.seedsedgemoor.com, and join in. So there are 5 activities that they have commissioned, all of which are slightly different but all really exciting. And I'll just talk through them very briefly because it may be something that sparks a little bit of interest within you. So one of those activities is Let's Dance Sedgemoor, and that's led by Sally Mann and Fuse Outdoor Arts. If you're someone who has attended carnivals or any of the sort of East Quay events in Bridgewater, you will have seen Sally Mann and her merry band of performers, and they are a part of this project. So they are teaching dance online, and it says here, we will then repeat the dances that they have taught after lockdown at events and locations around in Sedgemoor, such as Bridgewater's Quayside Festival and at the seaside in Burnham-on-Sea. So if dancing is something that you enjoy and hasn't been available to you in the last 12 weeks, it's moving online. So if you fancy getting involved, then as I say, pop over to the Seed Sedgemoor website to find out how. Another slightly different project is Joyful Noises, and this one's really exciting. It is led by artists Tim Hill and Hannah Earle, and they are exploring expressions of sound and community coming from the Thursday night clap for carers. So they're asking for people to share their experience of making a joyful noise and help us create new celebratory traditions for the COVID and post-COVID world. So if music, noise, celebrations is more your thing than dancing, then that might be something that excites you. There is a couple of different art projects, one of which we are involved with as agents, and I'm really excited about it. So there is an artist called Bev G Star, and she is leading creative online tutorials using creative packs assembled and delivered to your home. There will be a new activity each week. You will learn how to make your own dream catcher, nature print, mandala, floral wreath and more. So So we're very lucky that Bev has offered us some of these creative packs to deliver to our clients in Sedgemoor. We have lots of people who we've supported, post-COVID, were attending art groups and found them really beneficial. Great way of expressing themselves. We have a client who had a stroke, and she found that by attending her art groups, she no longer had to rely on her voice, which was difficult for her to speak. She could express herself through her art. And I'm sure she is someone that is really missing that opportunity, and so she's someone that we will definitely be delivering one of these creative packs to. She can make your own dream catcher, nature print, week after week, following these online tutorials. So we're really excited about that. And if that excites you too, and you're someone that enjoys art and enjoys creative moments, then please do reach out to us and we could perhaps deliver one of those packs to you. So they're just some of the creative projects that are happening as part of the Seed project. The website is in the comments section, so if you want to go and find out more, please head on over to their website. If you're not sure how to access any of those projects but they do interest you, let us know, us village agents, and we can help you access them. So that's that bit. I always feel like during these talking cafes I talk a million miles an hour. I always say our jobs as agents is to be a walking encyclopedia. Our heads are so full of solutions and community projects and groups and clubs and all those sorts of things that when I start talking I'm like, oh, have you heard of? Have you been to? Have you seen? And it's just, if I'm ever talking too fast and you've missed something, then do let me know in the comments. Just going to drink some water. I think it stopped raining, has it? Hopefully my agents out today won't be quite so soggy. So I'm just going to very briefly mention, as you're all joining me on Facebook, it's fair to assume that you have a Facebook account. And I wanted to mention a group which has been a fantastic resource of support in the last 12 weeks. And it has been slightly redesigned to make sure that that support can continue in the future. So the Facebook group was called Coronavirus Community Help Bridgewater. It is now just Community Help Bridgewater. And it's a Facebook group where you can join and you can access support with whatever it is that you're struggling with. There are a really lovely bunch of volunteers on that group who are always willing to help. They're willing to chat if you are feeling lonely. I would be quite confident in saying that if you are lonely now, if you were to join that Facebook group, you won't be lonely afterwards, because Leslie, one of the fantastic volunteers, she posts a sort of daily update, which is basically her inner thoughts. She spills them out onto the page, and it's like being with a friend and reading and having a conversation about what's happening for them. So, and I feel very confident in saying that if you were to post on that page, it might take a little bit of bravery, but post on that page saying, I need some help, I'm lonely, I need a friend, somebody will come back to you within minutes. They have a very good track record. The last couple of weeks, people have reached out and said, I need a cot, I need a microwave, I need a Hoover. Those requests for help have normally been answered and delivered within minutes. So if you are someone who thinks that might be helpful, please do join the group. Hannah's posted it in the comments, so go and have a look. And as I say, it's just a really nice resource for finding help and finding somebody to talk to, finding a friend. Fab group, yeah. So Councillor Hilary Brewster says she loves reading Leslie's updates. She just, it's like having a conversation with a friend. Another project which I have promised one of my agents, Vanda Squire, I'm not sure if she's here, I haven't seen her, but I said I would talk about this project. It is local to Puriton and Willavington, so it may not apply to all, but if you're someone who is lucky enough to live in one of those lovely villages, then this will apply to you. So the people of Puriton and Willavington are nearly halfway through a 10-year programme to make their community an even better place to live. And that is, of course, the Villages Together programme. So they have a pot of money that has been given to them by the big lottery funding. And they I'm just reading, can you tell? They are able to give that money to community groups who are helping to make a positive, lasting difference to the community. So applications are made to the partnership and then funds are granted. There have been lots of funds granted already, lots of wonderful things happening over in Willavington and Puriton. So they've had a new kitchen extension for the village hall. They have a dream team scheme where young people aged 8 to 14 sign up to take part in positive community activities, and then they're rewarded for their commitment. Willavington School have funding for an exciting new IT project, and funding has also been given to the Willavington Youth Theatre Group. Lots and lots going on in Willavington and Puriton, so if you're someone who lives over there and you've not heard of Villagers Together, it must be impossible, you must know about it, but just in case, they've got a really great website, so you go and have a look over there. And I'm going to move on just to talk about the last thing on my list, you'll be pleased to hear. I'm going to talk about loneliness in our older generation. People who are over 75 can access a really fantastic service called Re-Engage. It was formerly called Contact the Elderly, you might better know it under that name, but it is now called Re-Engage. So that is a service that is open to people who are over 75, who live alone and find it hard to get out in normal times. The COVID-19 crisis has been particularly devastating for these people, and many are feeling incredibly vulnerable and lonely, especially those with few family members or friends to talk to. In response to the crisis, Re-Engage have suspended their regular social gatherings, and with the help of their dedicated volunteers, they have set up a UK-wide Call Companion service. So as I say, anyone over the age of 75 who's feeling alone can receive a regular, friendly phone call throughout the crisis and beyond for as long as they want it. Re-Engage really recognise that no one should have to face this crisis alone, and they've said that, no one will be left behind. So if that is something that you think would benefit you, or you have a neighbour, friend, family member who is over the age of 75 and is finding this time particularly lonely and would benefit from a regular phone call from a volunteer, Re-Engage are a really fantastic solution for that. Our agents have lots and lots of other solutions. Like I said, we are walking encyclopedias. So if I have not spoken about a solution today that would benefit you, please do reach out and ask us for help. We have, as I say, lots of solutions that we could offer you, lots of different ways of combating loneliness. It's tricky times, before COVID happened, we would have recommended things such as Men's Shed, Rusty Road to Recovery, lots and lots of fantastic in-person solutions that aren't available at the moment, but I hope it won't be too long before they find a way to make themselves available again. That being said, there are lots of solutions that can be delivered remotely. There is no need at all for anybody to feel alone and lonely at this time. I think it's taken its toll on people. We are, as I mentioned earlier on in today's live, we're doing some work at the moment where we are out in the community and we are knocking on the doors of people who we know to be extremely vulnerable. And I myself did about 20 houses in Sedgemoor yesterday. And I came across a couple of people that were really lonely, particularly carers, that, it's taken their toll on them. They really enjoyed, and I've had some really positive feedback, that just knocking on the door and saying, hello, how are you, can we help, really lifted their spirits. That's a really difficult thing to do if you're not a professional with a professional offering. I think a lot of people would feel uncomfortable knocking on their neighbour's door just to say hello. But wouldn't it be fantastic if we could reach a point where that was normal? Where it wasn't it was the done thing again, where we could reach out to our neighbours and say, hello, can I help? Do you need anything? I saw a really lovely post on Facebook a couple of days ago where a young mum who was suffering from anxiety, she posted on the local Facebook page asking for help. Would anybody get her some milk? Because she was too anxious to leave the house with her children. Within minutes, somebody had been to the shop, they had bought her some milk and they'd dropped it off on her doorstep and she'd left the money out for them. Wouldn't it be fantastic if that was just normal, if we could offer that support every single day, and we could knock on our neighbour's door and ask how they are? It's going to take a little bit of a culture change, I think, to make that kind of normal. But if you are someone who is feeling particularly brave, perhaps not in the rain, I wouldn't send her out in the rain, but on a dry day, perhaps just spending some time connecting with your neighbours, asking how they are, having a little conversation might be all it takes to change their day. So on that note, I just want to remind you that, as always, our agents are here for you. Excuse me. If you have something that you are struggling with, you need some support, please do reach out and let us know. You can ring us on our telephone number, which is 01823 331 222, or you can go to our website where you can request that an agent calls you back. You can also send us a message on our Talking Cafe Facebook page and one of us will get back to you. Anything at all that you are struggling with, please let us know. We are here for you and we want to help. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye. I have some of my wonderful agents dropping some books off to me that I can deliver out to some of my clients, so I'm sure it won't be long before they're knocking on my door to deliver those books. It's been really great to be with you. I won't be here next week. We have whole agent training next week, and so I have a fantastic replacement in the form of our wonderful Somerset Diverse Communities team, our BME team. I imagine it'll probably be Michael who is filling in for me. So if I can, I'll pop in and say hello in the comments, but I won't be here delivering. I'll of course be back the week after. Can't get rid of me that easily. But so I'll see you the week after next on the Thursday. But we will of course be here every day at 11 AM weekdays. So we'll see you soon. Bye everybody.